They did it. Someone finally did it! They put woopers in a video game. Holy shit! Man, it feels like an eon has passed since Minecraft first came out. I remember seeing Minecraft Classic when it was new, and 10-year-old me was thinking, why not play this stupid ass game when I could be playing Runescape? Which in hindsight was a silly thing to say because Runescape actually fucking sucks. But then I watched two funny British men play Minecraft survival mode and eventually turned it into some weird LARP fantasy. And then I was like, holy shit, I need to buy this game. And so began my decade-strong love of possibly the greatest game of all time, playing it religiously as new features and updates rolled in over the years. Tameable wolves, maps, pistons, strongholds, the ender dragon, zombie villager curing, bees, nether portals that actually worked in multiplayer, updates that have helped to keep the game fresh and exciting even after all these years. But now comes the first part of the long-awaited Caves and Cliffs update that rather unfortunately has been split into two different expansions, making this first part not so cavey and certainly not all that cliffy, but Mojang certainly didn't decide to save the best till last. Despite this update being split down the middle, there are still plenty of new things that have been added with it. New mobs, new blocks, and several changes and additions to existing items and mechanics. One change that I like quite a lot is that now ore blocks will drop a chunk of ore rather than just the block themselves, which although these ore chunks will still function the same save for the fact that they're not a block, fortune enchantments will actually work on them like for all other ores that would just drop an item, which really just makes sense. All of the textures for ores have also changed now, making them more unique from one another, which is a great addition for colorblind players. And you'll notice they all have a deep slate version, the new version of stone that spawns right at the depths of the world. We'll see a little more of this in the next update once they reinstate the extra world height and deep dark biome, but for now it adds some neat new stone blocks and textures that I'm sure creative builders are already jizzing over. There's also copper now, a new ore that can be used to make lightning rods and spyglasses, as well as new metal blocks that'll actually oxidize over time that make some neat looking roofs. I'd like it if you could use copper to make crude tools and armor between stone and iron, maybe as fast and strong as iron but less durable, but Mojang don't seem to have any plans for this. You can also find big amethyst geodes underground, the shards of which are used to make the aforementioned spyglasses, as well as tinted glass that can be seen through but will also block light, as well as a bunch of extra plant blocks for lush caves, even though lush caves themselves are yet to be implemented. They added goats as a new mob that stand on mountains and do the funny scream, and they also added glow squids. I don't know how I feel about glow squids, but you can use them to make glowing signs, which are pretty neat. And along with all of these new features, as with any Minecraft update, 1.17 brings a huge swath of bug fixes as well. Most importantly, now when you kill a guardian with lava, it'll drop a cooked fish instead of a raw one. Thank God they fixed that one, it was really breaking my immersion. But more important than anything I've said so far is the fact that Mojang, these absolute mad lads, actually went and added goddamn woopers to the game. Look at him. Just look at him. Best fucking update ever. You know me, the guy that used to make the same incredibly funny and not at all repetitive joke at the end of every video about there being no woopers in all of the games that I reviewed. Well, my efforts have finally paid off. Someone has finally listened. Mojang put woopers in the goddamn game. Holy shit. And not only are they incredibly cute, but they'll even help you fight, and if they get hurt, they'll play dead. Look at him! For some reason, the shiny Wooper is really common, and the normal colored Wooper is super rare, and also there's a bunch of other shiny Woopers too, but I don't care. They put frickin' Woopers in Minecraft. You think I care what color they are? Currently, these fellas only spawn in water below the surface in groups of 1 to 4 at World Gen, as well as rarely on their own in total darkness underground after that. They're meant to spawn in lush caves, which as mentioned earlier, have not yet been implemented. One of the many things that we're still waiting for. Despite all of the additions that we've discussed so far, as well as the introduction of God's greatest gift to humanity to the game, I am still rather disappointed that the actual Caves and Cliffs part of the update has been delayed. But look, if it means that we're gonna get it in a more polished state, then it's probably better that we leave it in the oven a little longer rather than launching it half-baked. And I can appreciate that there's still a big ass update to come. We're talking about doubling the depth of the world below sea level and totally overhauling huge parts of the world generation. This is some seriously game changing stuff, and it's definitely best that Mojang get it right before it goes live. I really like the idea behind the new ore generation, making certain ores more common at certain heights and making the distribution much more varied, meaning you'd actually have to mine on different levels depending on which ore you are most in need of, which looks like a really interesting addition gameplay wise. The feature I'm looking forward to the most, however, is the new world generation. I was always a little disappointed at how it changed in beta 1.7, despite it actually adding a bunch of proper and more easily distinguishable biomes. It kinda simplified the world gen in a lot of ways, and you lost some of the more interesting terrain from alpha and early beta. I'm really hoping that 1.18 will recapture the more unique elevations and land formations so that every instance of each biome feels a little different. And I've always been a little disappointed with extreme hills biomes and their lack of height in particular, and that every single one had to be snow-capped. So I have some high expectations for part 2 of this update, to say the very least. Despite the frustration of having the update split in half, 1.17 is certainly still a welcome addition to Minecraft's long-running series of updates in the decade of its lifespan. Even when you consider that it's really just a preview to the next part of the update, arguably the bigger part, it's a nice little coat of paint to help keep the game fresh. And it's not like Minecraft really needs it. It's shown that it can stand the test of time and that at this point we hardly need Mojang to keep working on it. But I'm extremely grateful that they are regardless. And even though we got basically the greatest addition to any video game whatsoever with the first part of this update, it's not done yet. So I hope you'll join me again for whenever Mojang get around to finishing the rest of the Caves and Cliffs update for part 2 of the greatest Minecraft update ever.